next guest is a very talented actress you know from shows such as Ray Donovan and Better Call Saul. She stars in The Banshees of Inisherin, which is in select theaters now. Let's take a look.
What are you doing home?
I knocked on Colm's sonny Larry, who's just sitting there.
Sitting there doing what?
Sitting there doing nothing. Smoking.
Was he asleep?
He was smoking, Siobhan. How do you smoke in your sleep, like?
Have you been rowing?
We haven't been rowing. I don't think we've been rowing. Have we been rowing? Why wouldn't he answer the door to me?
Maybe he just doesn't like you no more.
Please welcome to the show, Kerry Condon, everyone.
Hey, hi. I'm a bit nervous. It's my first talk show in America.
Well, you're off to a great start. You fully got up to the chair, and that's the hardest part.
I was worried about that.
Yeah, now it's a breeze. From here on out, it's a
Thank
breeze.
you.
I'm a huge fan of yours. I love this movie. For those who don't know, it's about a couple of friends who break up. It's a platonic breakup film. You play the sister of Colin Farrell's character. You've worked with Colin before.
Yes.
In a film called Intermission, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And so was it nice to have sort of a reunion of sorts?
It was. I would have known him over the years, like, you know, seen him at things and stuff and texts and things like that. So it is, because when someone's quite famous, you know, I'm always a bit nervous about imposing on them, and, like, you know, people are always coming up to them, and I don't want to be that person who's always coming up to them. So I think if it had been someone else, I would have been a bit taking my time approaching him, where it was easy because I knew him for so long, I could just...
He's a pretty approachable. As far as a famous person goes, I think Colin's a pretty approachable fella.
Yeah, but still, you don't want to be annoying people.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good lesson for everyone here to take away. Now, this was shot on an island off the coast of Ireland. And, you know, Brendan and Colin were here, and they were talking about the locals and their varying levels of excitement of having a movie filmed on their island. Did you find that people were excited to see either you or Brendan or Colin?
Well, no, the only people who were excited where I was living were these two cute little boys who were, like, really, really young. And one of them had cute little glasses, and they knew Brendan from Paddington.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, it was so cute.
And did they care about Colin at all?
Couldn't give a about
yeah.
Colin, yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, that'll keep him from getting, you know, getting airs about him, you know?
yeah.
And there were, you know, even in the clip, we saw, I guess, a little Shetland pony there in...
A little donkey.
A little donkey, right. Excuse me, a correction that is made in the film as well, I should know. But
yes.
It didn't seem like you had to do as much of the sort of animal co-starring that Colin had to do. But did you find that you spent a fair amount of time, more than normal, with animals?
Yeah, well, I'm good with animals because I've got horses of my own, you know, so I'd be good around them. But Jenny, the little donkey, she was very young, and so she had a little friend donkey with her all the time. Like, yes, called Rosie, and she was...
So is that because when you're young on set, there are rules that, like the donkey
like
union?
a chaperone, yes! And then Rosie would come on the set and be like a kind of an older presence, and so Jenny would kind of relax a bit more when she could see Rosie. So I really, like, made Rosie feel really special, because I hate favoritism.
Yeah.
Do you know?
And it can happen. It can happen with animals just as easy as it can with a cast. Yeah, and it's very nice to have someone who's sort of familiar with horses.
Exactly.
To notice which one's getting the favoritism, because it seemed like Colin didn't enjoy the horses as much.
He had to do loads of horse and cart stuff, which is hard now, and I'm not good at that, but, like, he knew I had horses, so I suppose he was a little maybe insecure.
Yeah.
Doing the horse stuff. But I always tried to leave him alone when he was doing it so he wouldn't be embarrassed or anything. But we did have one day when we were quite close to a cliff, and I think the horse was getting a bit by the end of it, like, I'm done, I'm done with this, I don't want to do it anymore. And it was windy and all sorts. And at the end of the take, Colin said to the costume lady, can I have a change of underpants, please? Because we nearly went into the feckin' off the cliff, yeah.
It is, this movie takes place, you know, 100 years ago or so, but yet it feels very modern in its themes, and it's also very funny. I know you've worked with Martin over the years, and, you know, he obviously writes in different eras, but I do feel like there's this very, like, a DNA that goes through all his writing where it's very easy to listen to, it's very funny, it does seem very natural. Was it fun to get to work with a script like this?
Yeah, because I always loved his Irish stuff. Like, I mean, I was a little biased.
No, you're
because-
Irish, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
of
okay.
course. And I had done all the Irish plays, so they were like what I liked about his stuff, and I always felt like they were very moving. And when he'd done his movies, I was always thinking, oh, people like they haven't seen all his stuff because the Irish stuff is so great. So when I read the script, I remember thinking, oh yes, it's like when your Irish plays but a movie, so everyone's going to see now how great you are at that and the dialogue of the Irish stuff. So
It's a wonderful cast from top to bottom. And obviously, this was shot at a time where people weren't getting to interact as much because it was during COVID. And I can only imagine how nice it must have been to be amongst a group of actors who were working on something as special as this is.
yeah, I hate talking about COVID though.
Yeah, we don't have to.
I hate it. I'm so sick of it. Isn't that terrible? But it's like, I think I have PTSD. Or I shouldn't say that because it's not. I don't really have PTSD, but there's something about it. I wish we just never pretend it never happened.
You know what? Let's just pretend it never happened, all right?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
If you ever see a photo of me wearing a mask, it's
Oh,
because I had a
don't.
bad cold.
Yeah,
it was out
okay,
of cold. It was
okay.
nothing else. You were on one of my favorite shows, which was Better Call Saul, and you came in, and but you had never seen Breaking Bad, correct?
Yeah, God almighty, I'll never live that down. I saw it now, but I hadn't seen it when I did.
That's okay.
Yeah, because it was a prequel.
Yeah.
Like, in my defense, it was a prequel. So I was like, well, I don't really need to know what happens in the future.
Yeah. In a weird way, it would make the job as an actor harder because your
Yes.
character shouldn't know what the future is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look at me making up excuses.
well,
for
I
you.
know for my laziness. I know, yeah. I know it wasn't laziness. I think I didn't know what the audition was for, I believe.
Well, you shouldn't have to go watch 7 seasons of a show
Thank
before an
you.
audition.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know.
Yeah, I do. Now, by the way, I didn't even get a call for the audition, so who am I to say? You know?
Well, I did watch it eventually, and I'm glad I didn't watch it before because I think I would have been really nervous because it was
Yeah.
so good and it was so original, and I think I would have overthought it. So I was kind of glad I hadn't seen it.
Well, I've said it to everybody who worked on Better Call Saul. Like, another thing that I couldn't believe worked, but not only worked, but was exactly as good as the original. So it was a really cool thing to see. It was great to see you in it. And but this film, you were so wonderful in this film.
Thanks,
and
Amelia.
I told Brendan and Colin when they're here, because they're two of my favorite actors, but when they were in scenes with you, you were just running circles around them. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank
I
you
really
so
appreciate it.
much.
Carrie Condon, everybody. The Banshees of Inisherin is in select theaters now. We'll be right back with music from Kurt Vile and the Violators.